Z.ai is basically giving GLM 5.3 away right now. And I don't mean some tiny free trial where you get 10 prompts, hit a limit, and immediately get asked for your credit card. They are giving 50,000 new ZCode users 100 million GLM 5.3 tokens each for free. But there's a catch. These packages are first come, first served. The last time Z.ai tried this, demand got so crazy that it stopped issuing the additional tokens roughly an hour after the promotion started. Well, now it is back. So I'm going to show you exactly how to get it, who is eligible, what you can actually do with 100 million tokens, and why I think you should use the tokens instead of grabbing them and forgetting about them. This is the second round of the GLM-5.3 and ZCode weekend build promotion. The deal is pretty straightforward. If you're a new ZCode user and make your first login during the promotional window, Z.ai says the free allocation is added automatically. There are 50,000 packages available, first come, first served, and any unused promotional tokens expire when the event ends. The event runs through August 24 at 9 a.m. UTC plus 8. For those of us in the United States, that is August 23 at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you're watching this while the promotion is still live, I would probably pause the video, open the link in the description, and at least get the account set up, because 50,000 sounds like a lot until you look at what happened last time. Z.ai ran the first weekend build on August 16th. It was the same basic idea. New ZCode users could get 100 million GLM 5.3 tokens. Roughly an hour after the promotion started, ZCode stopped issuing the additional tokens. Z.ai said demand had exceeded expectations and it needed to adjust service capacity. People who had already received the allocation were able to keep it, but new signups went back to the regular new user allowance. So I would not assume this second round is going to remain available until the official deadline. This time, Z.ai says they prepared more capacity and put a hard number on the offer: 50,000 packages. Once those are gone, they are gone. There are a few things you need to understand before signing up. First, this is specifically for new ZCode users making their first login during the event window. Second, these promotional tokens are for ZCode. This is not Z.ai handing you 100 million unrestricted API tokens that you can throw into any random application or resell through a proxy. The promotion is for using GLM 5.3 inside ZCode. Third, the unused promotional allocation expires when the event ends. Do not grab this thinking you're going to have 100 million tokens sitting in your account 6 months from now. You will not. The whole point is to get people building with GLM 5.3 during the event. And 100 million tokens sounds ridiculous, but modern coding agents can consume tokens much faster than you might expect. If you're asking one-off coding questions, 100 million is enormous. But if you run GLM 5.3 at high reasoning effort on a large repository, give it long-running objectives, let sub-agents investigate the codebase, run tests, fix failures, and repeatedly iterate, you can burn through a surprising amount. So do not look at the number and assume it is literally impossible to use. This is a pretty interesting model to get that much free access to. GLM 5.3 is not an entirely new base model. Z.ai says it uses the same base model as GLM 5.2. The improvements came from scaling the post-training, including more reinforcement learning and longer agent trajectories. Basically, Z.ai kept teaching the existing base model how to work through harder, longer tasks. The company is reporting substantial improvements in coding and long-running agent work. GLM 5.3 is also particularly interesting because of the cybersecurity capabilities Z.ai observed during evaluation. I'm not going to spend half this video reading benchmark numbers because that is not what this video is about. Those results are also company reported, so real projects still matter more than a chart from the company selling the model. The important point is that this is not some tiny bargain model being dumped into a free tier. GLM 5.3 is currently Z.ai's flagship coding model. So what exactly is ZCode? ZCode is Z.ai's own agentic development environment. Think of it as the company's full coding agent workspace built around GLM models. You open an actual project and the agent can read the codebase, edit files, execute commands, work with git changes, use a built-in browser, test what it built, and keep working across much longer tasks. ZCode has gotten considerably more capable since it originally launched. You have reusable skills, custom/commands, MCP servers, plugins, browser automation, project memory, SSH, and Docker remote development, and sub-agents. You can also create your own reusable multiple sub-agents. You could make a dedicated code review agent, test writing agent, documentation researcher, or security reviewer. You give that sub-agent its own instructions, model, and tool permissions, and the main agent can delegate appropriate work to it. That makes this promotion more interesting because you can put the token allocation to work across genuinely complicated agent workflows. The feature I would pay the most attention to during this promotion is goal mode. Goal mode is ZCode's long horizon execution mode. Instead of saying build this, then waiting, typing continue, asking it to fix the errors, and telling it to continue again, you give ZCode a verifiable objective. Something like refactor this application, make all tests pass, and do not stop until the build completes successfully. ZCode keeps iterating toward that objective at the end of each round. It checks whether the goal has actually been satisfied. If it has not, it starts another round. That is exactly the kind of workflow where having a ridiculous token budget becomes useful. ZCode can combine that with its Explore sub-agent. Explore is read-only, so it can investigate a repository, trace dependencies, find where something is implemented, and collect evidence without changing anything. Then the main agent can use that information to make the modifications. You also have the built-in browser. This is one of those things I think coding agents absolutely need now. ZCode can open the application it is working on, click buttons, fill forms, scroll, take screenshots, and inspect what actually happened. Instead of editing your front end and confidently telling you everything works perfectly, it can open the page and check. Build it, run it, look at it, find the problem, fix it, test again. That verification loop matters. That is how I would use these 100 million tokens. Not another snake game, not another calculator, not another to-do list. Those are fine demonstrations, but you're being given temporary access to an enormous token budget. Throw something real at it. Take a side project you abandoned because something is broken. Give it a repository you have been meaning to refactor. Build a dashboard you will actually use. Build a small CRM or content management tool. Have it write tests for one of your applications. Have it inspect an open source project and explain the architecture. Or give it one of your personal projects and make it work through a meaningful backlog, because GLM 5.3 is showing stronger cybersecurity capabilities. Another interesting experiment would be giving it a test project or code base you are authorized to assess and asking for a defensive security review. Find vulnerable dependencies, look for exposed secrets, review authentication logic, check input validation, look for obvious security mistakes. Then have it propose fixes and verify them. Keep that defensive and authorized. Do not point it at systems you do not own or have permission to test. That is a much more interesting use of the model than generating another landing page. ZCode also has remote control. You can start something on your desktop and monitor or steer the existing session from your phone. ZCode supports mobile remote and bot channels through WeChat and Facetune. Your desktop is still doing the actual work. Your phone becomes the control surface. So what happens if you click the link and all 50,000 promotional allocations are already gone? You're not completely out of luck. ZCode normally gives first-time users a 5-day trial. The current documentation lists 3 million GLM-5 Turbo tokens per day during those 5 days. That is substantially smaller than the weekend promotion, but it is still enough to test the software on a real project before paying. And if free coding models are what you care about, I posted a video last weekend about Freebuff. Freebuff is a free coding agent supported by small text ads. Its current model catalog includes DeepSeek v4, Flash 0731, and users with full access can also use DeepSeek v4 Pro 0813. So if you missed the ZCode promotion, or you want to compare GLM against DeepSeek on the same project, I will put that Freebuff video in the description. I already walked through the setup there, so I'm not going to turn this into a second Freebuff tutorial. There's one more free option available right now. Aux Alpha is currently free on OpenRouter. It is an anonymous stealth model aimed at coding and long-running agent work, with a 1 million token context window and support for text, images, and video. OpenCode announced the launch as a free week. OpenRouter currently lists both input and output at $0, but its live model page does not publish a hard cutoff, so I would treat this as temporary and check the listing before using it. There's also a privacy catch. The anonymous provider retains prompts and completions, although it says they are not used for training. I would test it with a personal or public project, not confidential source code. I will put the Aux Alpha page in the description too. If you decide you like it, Z.ai also sells GLM coding plan. The main subscription page now uses a credit-based system with Light Pro and Max tiers. These plans have been changing quickly, so check the actual pricing page instead of trusting an old video. One detail worth paying attention to is that off-peak model calls consume 50% of the normal points. Z.ai defines peak time as 2 p.m. through 6 p.m. UTC plus 8, Monday through Friday. Everything outside that window, including weekends, receives the off-peak rate. Z.ai is also advertising a temporary 1.5 times quota boost through August 31. So if you keep using GLM 5.3 after the promotion, pay attention to when you run the heavy workloads. Eventually, you may not need ZCode to access the model at all. Z.ai said the GLM 5.3 weights would be released publicly roughly 2 weeks after the August 14th launch. As I'm recording this, I do not see GLM 5.3 published on Z.ai's Hugging Face organization yet. If the weights arrive on schedule, people with absolutely ridiculous hardware will be able to self-host them, and inference providers will probably start offering the model too. There's one final thing I would mention before dumping an entire private repository into the app. Read the privacy policy. ZCode says it processes the text files and code you submit to provide the service, and it records conversation content. It also says its optimization program for using user content in our product or model training is turned off by default and requires you to opt in. That is better than simply assuming free means they are training on everything. But I would still use common sense. Do not paste API keys into prompts. Do not upload credentials. Do not expose customer information. If you're working with confidential company source code, understand your company's policies and ZCode's terms before sending anything. For personal projects, open source repositories, test applications, and side projects, this promotion is much easier to experiment with. So that is the deal. 100 million free GLM 5.3 tokens, 50,000 packages for new ZCode users. First come, first served. The promotion ends August 23 at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. Eastern. The first attempt lasted roughly an hour before demand overwhelmed the available capacity, so there is no guarantee these packages make it all the way to the deadline. I will put the ZCode link, the official announcement, the GLM 5.3 announcement, and the documentation below. If you get the 100 million tokens, do not just look at the balance and close the application. Build something. And if you put GLM 5.3 through a serious project, let me know what you think in the comments. I'm curious to see whether people's real-world experience matches the benchmarks. If this video helped you, hit the like button and subscribe. That is it for today's video, and thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.